welcome. I'm Claudia. If you're new here, I'm a little behind on my video schedule, but I'm hoping to catch up this week. I did go to a plant event over the weekend. That's kind of what set me back, but I have a couple of new plants to show you, just two, and I want to get them set up to be acclimated into my space, so I thought that we could do that together. I still haven't looked at the roots of my Philodendron. Still not looking the best. So yeah, I'm becoming increasingly more concerned about it. So we're gonna do, I think, a plant chores video after this where I tackle a couple little things. There's a couple of upsizes. We need to take a look at that one. But for today, let's focus on the good and the new plants. And also, my dogs are extraordinarily on one today. Like, I don't know what's going on. So hopefully I can get through this. Oh, and I only have about an hour because I need to pick up my niece from school. So I may need to finish this video either while she's here after school or after her mom picks her up later this evening. But let's just get started. I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the plant event as I get myself all settled in here. It's called Long Beach Plantfest and it's put on by Hella Plants Market. They're like a Northern California plant market, but they started coming to LA 2 years ago, so they did a market in LA the first time, and then after that they partnered with my favorite local plant shop, Plantitas, and then they put together the Long Beach Plant Fest. And I believe this is the 5th run. As I was saying, I believe this is the 5th run. So they'll do one in the spring, summer, and then in the fall. And then this is just like the last one for the year, but it's so cool. Like lots of local plant vendors, the whole plant community comes out, local makers, artisans, there's food, music. It's a lot of fun, and it's a really great opportunity to meet our planty friends in real life. So I always just really look forward to this market, and I don't think I've ever been to one where I didn't buy anything. And I really didn't want to buy anything this time because I'm looking to get rid of, I mentioned my variegated Mathilde, the tiny one, I think last video, and I really want to get rid of that one so that I can then like buy other plants, but I just feel like that one's really weighing on me. But anyway, needless to say, I did buy plants. The first plant I bought is an Anthurium Dressleri. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but this is the newest leaf. I got this from my friends over at Plant Choto. He actually had a couple of them, but this was my favorite one, or like my favorite characteristics of this plant. It had, like, I love the color. It's really like bright emerald, and then it just looked so like pillowy with the texture. So I just, yeah, this is the one that I chose. So this is like a younger leaf, and then this is its newest leaf. The upsize is insane, and it does have another leaf on the way. So I was really excited about that. I did ask him about it, like level of difficulty, and he basically said, if you think your Queen Anthurium is easy, this is gonna be so much easier. And I mean, I have found my Warocqueanum to be pretty easy, but I have it in semi-hydro, it's in the cabinet, so I think that conditions are just pretty optimal for it, but I am a little bit concerned when it grows out that cabinet because my Millsbow Tall doesn't hold as much humidity as that one. But anyway, he said, if you think your queen is easy, this is gonna be way easier. He did advise to move it to semi-hydro like I moved the rest of my Anthuriums. It's currently in a sphagnum moss, perlite, and I think orchid bark, he said, maybe charcoal instead of orchid bark. But he said, do what you do, move it to semi-hydro, and it's gonna do just fine. And you can see, if the reflection allows, you'll see that it has really nice roots. So we are going to move it into pond today, and I think that we'll do one of these lechuza pots if it fits, and if it doesn't, then we can do one of my other favorite pots, which are these just a little taller more deep, like there's just more depth to these. Already I forgot a container with water to rinse some of the roots if needed. So let me go grab that and I'll be right back. I brought a container with water in case I need to like dip the roots. And then I just brought another little tray to dump all of this in here. So we'll just bring it out. Ooh, this root system is huge. I already feel like this is going to be too small for it. Like, look at this. These Anthurium roots are actually a lot thinner than other Anthuriums. I feel like usually they're like so thick, so like noodly. Okay, fortunately the substrate is coming just right off. It was nice and moist. Yeah, I think it was orchid bark what was in there, by the way. In case you were at the edge of your seat waiting. I am going to dip it just so that we can get any excess off or anything else that might come off on its own. Let's open this up. I think the dogs just settled down. Yeah, I think this is going to be way too small for it. I will do the other one. You've seen me talk about these before. These are custom 3D printed to fit these inner pots. There's multiple sizes. They work on a wick. And I just love them, particularly for alocasias and anthuriums because they are just deeper and support the way those plants grow. Yeah, that'll fit nicely in there. Hunter's back. So really strange. Last night, Blue woke me up because she was just like shaking, like her ears were bothering her. So, you know, I rubbed her a little bit and then she went back to sleep. And then right now, Hunter's kind of like shaking a lot and I can tell it's his right ear that's bothering him. I cleaned it and, you know, it looks nice and healthy and clean in there. So I don't know what's going on. And I also just feel like it's so weird because Blue was doing it last night. But I'm also just a little bit concerned. We had a dog. She passed away almost 2 years ago. And she, all of a sudden, I guess one night was shaking a ton. And she ended up getting this like cyst, like filled with water in her ear. And we had to have it drained a number of times. But eventually, like, her ear just kind of shriveled up and it was never the same just from shaking. So I am feeling, I don't know if, I mean, if they keep it up, we're going to have to call the vet, but it's so weird. I'm just using Lechuzapon, and this is already used pon that's been boiled and sterilized. Oh, that's way too much. We'll add all these yummy roots. And here he is. So I think he's just gonna go straight into my Millsbow wide cabinet. Yeah, he looks really, really cute, and I want to try to keep the conditions that he was growing in. They have Plants Choto. Jacob has this amazing greenhouse, and I know that that's where this was grown and living, so I would like to keep conditions as close as possible so that it can continue to grow and thrive for me. I'm back after an intermission. So I actually wasn't able to pick up my niece because I noticed that Hunter's ears were already getting swollen, like towards the tips. Like he has pretty long ears and they're floppy, and like from a quarter down, they felt like torpedoes. They're usually really thin and really soft. So I took him to a walk-in vet that we have really close by, and they also specialize in like emergency visits and stuff. And then my husband got off work and we switched places, so I'm back home, and I'm hoping that, you know, everything's okay. I'm worried about him, but I feel like it has to be like an ear infection, or like there's something in his ear that's bothering him, and hopefully it'll be resolved soon. But I will for sure keep you updated on him. Ugh, I hate it when the doggies don't feel good. Let's try and get back to plants. This plant might surprise you. It is a Philodendron Silver Sword. So a while ago, I was downsizing, and I decided that my Silver Sword wasn't bringing me joy and I didn't want it anymore. But I think that it wasn't bringing me joy because of how I was growing it. I was trying to grow it up a moss pole, and I prefer this like bushy look. I had a single vine and then I chopped it, and it just, yeah, I think I made the wrong decisions with it. Plus this was only $10. So I thought, why not give it another try? Because this really is a beautiful plant, and how, even though I said that behind me the window and the console are like Hoya and Alocasia Central, I feel like how beautiful would this look over there. And I always had a really easy time with my Silver Sword. So yeah, it was definitely a me thing, nothing that the Silver Sword ever did. And then I just found that like trying to grow it up a moss pole, it wasn't upsizing. It was rooting in the moss pole fine, but wasn't upsizing. It really wasn't doing a benefit, and it was just this extra maintenance. And again, I think it was how I was trying to grow it that I kind of fell out of love. But the truth is, this really is a beautiful plant, so I'm excited to have it in my collection again. And then now that I'm coming into it, like knowing that I want to just grow this bushy, like I'll probably, not right now, but I'll propagate and then just continue to fill to make this kind of like a bushy plant. Let it trail a little if it wants to. I think that now that I have those expectations, I will just be much happier with it. So what we're gonna do with this guy is we're gonna bring it out of the pot, because I can just tell that it has a very peat heavy soil. We'll inspect the roots a little bit. I want to take it in the shower, give it a very nice thorough rinse, and then just spray it with my insecticide, or like my preventative insecticidal soap, just so that the leaves are nice and clean. I can see just like some dirt speckles, probably from the travel of taking it to the show. So yeah, let's do that. Oh dang, it's quite rooted in here. Yeah, but this soil is not my favorite. I'm gonna try my best not to disturb it a lot, just kind of like whatever falls off naturally. And then I will just fill in the pot with my own soil. And I'm gonna use the soil that I have left over from when I potted up my Marantas and my Taniki and my big Monstera Deliciosas, just the green one. So it's a little bit more moisture retentive, but also just really nice and airy. Look at this debris. Why? I'm curious to know if, I feel like a lot of people moved on from their Silver Swords, like last year or earlier this year. I wonder how you feel about it. If you have one, if you ever had one, did you keep it? Did you decide you didn't like it anymore? I really think for me it's the way that I was trying to grow it. Like, it was just not bringing me joy that way. I feel something. More debris. You know what I didn't bring per usual? Myco. So I'll get some of that. I really didn't intend to get this much soil off, but I'm feeling really spongy in the middle, and this again feels like fabric. I forget which plant it was that I was showing you, or that I was like removing the soil, and I was like, it feels almost like fabric. Okay, I'm not gonna remove any more. I think I've done enough. Let me grab Myco and we'll just repot it real quick. I'm gonna add it in this clear pot. I think it's like a 5-inch or 4.5, probably 5-inch, but not without adding Myco first. Someone asked me recently if like it was something like, aren't you adding too much, or like, isn't that too much? It probably is, but I just don't usually measure things. So yeah, I really just slather it on there. That's perfect. Let's go in the shower and give this a really nice thorough rinse, and then we'll water and all set. Okay, so all we have to do now is clean the leaves and we're all set. I'm gonna be using the neem oil from Happy Houseplant. I love to use this. It's great to treat pests, but it's also a great preventative in my opinion. And then I add a tiny little bit of like mild dish soap. You could add Castile soap if you'd like, and then I add like 2 drops of peppermint essential oil just to kind of mask some of the neem smell. But peppermint is also a natural pest repellent, so I amend it just a little bit, yeah, for my needs. So this one will be pretty easy. Has 2 leaves. I actually really enjoy cleaning leaves on plants, but I feel like it's something I don't get to do very often because I have so many and like so many other more pressing plant chores to do. But I do clean the leaves frequently because I shower all my plants every watering. So, you know, they're not dusty or anything. The only one I'm having an issue with recently is my huge bird of paradise that lives in my bedroom. He's gotten too big to move like back and forth from the shower for like a year now. So I try to like just get even just like a wet microfiber cloth like with nothing else in it and clean the leaves every now and then. Okay. All nice and clean. Up next, the Silver Sword. Since I'm just cleaning the leaves, I'm just being like very free with the way I'm spraying. If it was something I was treating, then I would be a lot more detailed to make sure I got every single leaf, stem, front and back, and all of that. only thing left is to give it some of my nutrient-rich cocktail. I'll add the recipe all below, but I'm now doing silica on all my plants. I use micro and macronutrients, and then, you know, the fertilizer with all the 16 nutrients that a plant needs, in addition to the fungus gnat unaliving drops. This was pretty hydrated, so I don't want it to sit in the water necessarily. So I'm just gonna grab a little drip tray, add it underneath. I'm so excited to have this in my collection again. I think he's so cute, and now I'm feeling really bad that I dumped him before. I'm gonna place the silver sword in the console behind me. This Dressleri, I have to keep a name tag for it because I will, what if I forget? Not what if, when I forget. I'm gonna put that in the cabinet and we are good to go. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Let's chat down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you very soon. Bye.